All right, Shalom. I'd like to start off by saying, Kal Halayim La Yahweh, Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai, Ba'Shem Harakak Radash Ma'amath. Double honors to the elder apostles of the great millstone and my elder Heroin as well. Salutations to the argument of pushing the truth and sincerity and truth. And peace and blessing to the men, women, and children that believe in the name of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai. I'm Khanatan Bar Yasharla from the Lions in the Yasharla camp. And this is going to be a continuation and maybe a conclusion to the lesson that I started the other day dealing with what is the economic bubble, right? So now that we know what the economic bubble is, the reason why I started out with that is because of this article right here that I found that I want to go into that says U.S. stock market warning. The greatest bubble in human history could be about to burst, claimed investment guru. All right, the greatest bubble in world history. All right, in human history could be about to burst, bigger than and what's going to lead to that? Like a recession, maybe even a depression. But ultimately, it's going to lead. They're going to do it on purpose so it can lead them to the switch in the monetary system of how money is being spent or what type of money is being used, converting everything to a digital format, which is leading into the hour of temptation, is the most biggest prophecy in the scriptures. You know. This is what we want to be protected from, so now I did the lesson that on what exactly an economic bubble is. So now let's go into what happens if the bubble bursts. All right, so let me get it real quick. Hold on one second. Slacking. All right, it says so I put into Google, what happens when the economic bubble bursts? It says, when the economic bubble bursts, asset prices fall rapidly, which can lead to a number of consequences, right? So now we said, we kind of went into that a little bit. What do they call it, a correction or when it busts? Well, we went into it a little bit when I did the lesson on, what is it actually a bubble is. All right, it says, so these are some of the consequences coming behind a bubble bursting, and the main thing that's affected when it's dealing with the economy is dealing with the dollar mainly. Okay, so now investor losses. It says prices can crash, causing significant and often permanent losses of investors. For example, during the dot-com bubble, some stocks fell by 90%, but future returns did not increase enough to recover. And there's no way they're gonna crash the market on purpose to crash the dollar. They don't want to recover it in the form that it's in right now. They're gonna revise it into a digital form, all right? But still try to have that digital form of the greenback as the #1 currency in the trade market, all right? It said unsustainable investments. The price drop can cause collapse of unsustainable investments, especially speculative and Ponzi investments. Loss of confidence. The price drop can lead to a crisis of consumer and investor confidence, which may result into a financial panic crisis. Right. So now, that's why you had to have the government bailouts in 2008. And then I think again in the 2014 when the housing market crashed, or it was one of those 2012, one of those years. However, these are the things that can happen. So the people they're already losing faith in the dollar, and if that losing the faith in the dollar increases, nobody's going to want to invest in it as it sits right now. So what are they going to do? They're going to revamp it, revise it, create a new form of it in a digital form, and that's what's going into the Revelation 13 and 16. All right, it says economic downturn. A bubble burst can when the bubble inflates like that. That's where you have hyperinflation, and that's what we're dealing with right now. Super hyperinflation, man. It's ridiculous. You can't even afford to do anything right now. You can't afford to eat. You can't afford to eat. People are taking up fasting, but not on purpose, not from a spiritual perspective, They're doing it because they ain't got no money to eat with. You can't afford to live. You can't afford to be healthy. You gotta sacrifice health right? You know what I'm saying? So this whole thing is crazy, man. And it's putting so much pressure on everybody. All right. It says economic downturn. It said a bubble burst can often precede a downturn in the economy, creating a recession that could lead to job loss. We're already, man. Listen, the job market shit. Excuse me, slack y'all. I'm looking for a job right now. Shoot, I lost mine. People losing jobs left and right. You know, and part of the reason why I lost my job is because the company couldn't afford me to continue to pay me my salary because, right, the company was in an economic uh, um crisis, economic crisis, man. I'm not going to go into the finances or anything, but they had to do a lot of budget cuts, and you know who's always first on the chopping block when it comes to that. But you know, it's a struggle out here for everybody. That's why Yahweh Shai said, "Take on my yoke; it is easy, my burden is light." So it says, economic downturn. A bubble burst can often precede a downturn in the economy, creating a recession. And that's what we're kind of in right now. There ain't no money really out here. But the money that is out here, you got to get so much of it to compensate um, the cost of living. So you need so many dollars just to survive, because the value of the dollar is declining rapidly as its bubble expands. Right? It says the burst of the 1924 to 1925 economic disaster in American history. All right, or was the worst economic disaster in American history. All right, now they say that's the worst economic disaster in American history. Right, but but now this article says United States stock market warning: the greatest bubble in human history could be about to burst, claims an investment guru. Right? So let's go into this article, see what it says. It says, according to an article by Spencer Jacob for the Wall Street Journal, investment expert Mark Spitznagel is concerned about the potential upcoming bursting of the greatest bubble in human history. All right. And Spitznagel is an American investor and hedge fund manager, best known for the funding Universa investment, and a hedge fund that specializes in tail risk strategy. These strategies are designed to protect against extreme market events and focus to set Universa apart from more conventional investment approaches. Spetznagel's investment philosophy is heavily influenced by Austrian economics, which emphasizes the importance of market dynamics and the unpredictability of economic forces. His views are often led him to take a contrarian stance, preparing for rare but impactful market downturns. Spitznagel is closely associated with Nassim Nicholas Taleb, the author of The Black Swan, a seminal work of the impact of rare and unpredictable events. Their professional relationship is rooted in their shared interest in risk management and the mutual belief in the importance to prepare for extreme market events. Spitznagel and Taleb have collaborated extensively, with Taleb serving as a scientific advisor to Universa Investment. Spitznagel has made a name for himself. Okay, let's get to the point where he's talking about. All right. It says, all right. According to the Wall Street Journal, Spitznagel's approach often incurs daily losses, but these are offset by substantial gains during financial crises such as the 2008 crisis, all right, and the 2015 flash crash, and C-19. I don't even know if you can say that anymore. Market meltdown in 2020. All right, when that market meltdown in 2020, they try to stimulate the economy by giving out these stimulus checks. Because, once people are told to stay home and they can't go to work and they're only getting a certain amount of funds, then there's not going to be any money being spent. Not, you know what I'm saying? So the economy cannot grow, or it can't even sustain. So what do they do? All right, that's when the internet game right? Internet shopping tore a hole in the economy. That's why a lot of your mom and pop stores had to shut down because nobody's coming out the house to spend anymore. Everybody's spending it online. And the company that I was working for was an e-commerce wholesale private label e-com wholesale business, right? So our at the time when I was working for them, I was like, the strategy needs to be essential goods. We start selling things like that people are going to be more focused on when they're sitting at home. And one of the main investments that we did, we created a puzzle. They created a puzzle business. I don't work for them anymore, but that started to um, climax. But when they let everybody else go, and when they started letting everybody go outside, nobody was sitting down. Nobody was buying puzzles anymore. And the company invested so much money into that private label of the puzzle making business that it started that they weren't getting the return of the investment that they were getting during the 2020 crisis, right? So now the stocks in the company started to flop. So they went into a financial crisis. So you're seeing that happening globally around the world because of the 2020 um, pandemic crisis. It says this strategy has allowed investors with a small allocation to his fund to outperform traditional diversified portfolios. The Wall Street Journal highlighted Spensnagel's current prediction of an impending major sell-off with potential stocks losses exceeding 50%. However, Spignagel acknowledges the difficulty of predicting the exact timing of such a market crash. You're seeing the market crash happening. That's why you're seeing gas fluctuate. All right. You know, normally around this time of year, gas will go up. No, it'll go down around this time and go right back up. And around like September to October, and then around November during election time, it'll go back down, right? But now we're just seeing a sustained increase in gas. Not only just gas, anything. Like shoot, that's why things like Temu and things like that, where you can get stuff for cheap, cheap, cheap. That's why things like websites and stuff like that are booming right now because people you can get a pair of pants for $8 versus going, and they look similar to what you go buy and spend $100 for or even $30 for in the store. Right, so it's a upside down like pyramid scheme in the economy right now because they're trying to make it seem like the economy is booming because of all the money that they printed, right? And really the economy is failing, creating this big swelling economic bubble that's going to burst and reset and correct itself at any given moment. All right, all right, all right. So now, once the smoke clears and that correction happens, where's America going to be? Like a third world country, because it's going to set the value where it should be for the dollar and put it at the bottom of the totem pole. But it's being done on purpose because they're going to try to ramp it back up after creating a crypto or digital form of that dollar to coincide with the blockchain and what's the other I can't remember. But going into the whole digital system, right? It says the article says despite the market calm and stocks nearing record highs, right? Because you're seeing that because it's they playing with the money, manipulating the system, right? It says despite the current market calm and stocks nearing record highs, Spignagel, as cited by the Wall Street Journal, expects the rally to continue and become even more exuberant. He attributes this to a gold-locked phrase of falling inflation and Federal Reserve easing, which fuels further market gains. However, he warns that the rate cuts often precede significant market reversals. The Wall Street Journal also mentioned that some prominent bearish strategies like Morgan Stanley's Mike Wilson and J.P. Morgan and Mark Kalanovic Marko Kolanovic have recently turned bullish or faced career setbacks for their continuous stances. Spitznagel draws parallels to the dot-com boom. All right, parallels to the dot-com boom, suggesting that the current market bubble could be even more severe due to the extreme excesses. He argues that the extensive government intervention has suppressed economic risk, creating conditions for a severe market correction. That's what I just said. It's going to have to correct itself because they have the value of the dollar so high. Now you got these other nations not even want to use the dollar in the trade market, or not even they can use the dollar, but introducing other forms of currency that could be used, and no longer having the greenback as the number one currency to use for petroleum, doing away with the OPEC deal. All right, it says for individual investors, Spitznagel advises, as per the Wall Street Journal, to remain passively invested in stocks as a strategy has historically yielded the best long-term results. He emphasizes that staying the course with steady contributions to index funds despite market fluctuation is likely to outperform more complex volatility of blunting financial products. All right, so now, but this could be the worst bust, which would mean the worst market crash in economic history. That's what we're leading up into. All right, and right, and who's bringing it? Who's bringing it? Yahweh Shem Yahushai. All right, let me get Isaiah. Isaiah 47:1. It says, "Come sit down in the dust, O virgin daughter of Babylon. Sit on the ground. There is no more throne, O daughter of the Chaldeans, for thou shalt no more be tender and delicate." Well, what made her tender and delicate? The dollar. How is the Lord going to bring the daughter of the Chaldeans down? Through crashing the dollar, crashing the market, turning America into a third world country. I said, take millstones and grind the mill, uncover thy locks, make bare the legs, uncover the thighs, pass over the rivers. Thy nakedness shall be uncovered, thy shame shall be seen. I will take vengeance and I will not meet thee like a man. So the Lord is stripping America of everything because it doesn't have any major resources. There's no gross GDP. They're not exporting anything. The only thing they export is the dollar. Everything is being imported and it's being paid for through the dollar, and it's being manipulated through the fluctuation of interest rates, the sanctions on these other companies, imposing their will on these other countries, putting pressure on these other countries with the dollar, something that doesn't even amount to anything, that's cankered. All right, so let's get James chapter 5. I'm gonna close it out with this. James. Okay. James 5:1. It says, "Go to now, ye rich men, weep and howl for your miseries that shall come upon you." Right. It says, "Your riches are corrupted and your garment is moth-eaten." Right. The riches of this place, man, is corrupted. That dollar system that they've been using to monopolize the whole world and steal all the resources and dictate what goes on in the trade market and in the global economics is cankered. All right, it's because they took away with the Nixon shock. They took away the gold standard, right? And then what did they do? They devalued the dollar by printing and printing and printing and printing. So all these countries that gave away their gold, right, for these dollars, right? They were coerced into giving away their resources, like gold and silver and diamonds, for the dollar, for monopoly money. It's like how you would do a little child. Oh, let me get all your candy. I'll give you this play monopoly money. A child doesn't know the difference. So America has bamboozled these other nations with the dollar, made the other nations foolish and boasting with America about the dollar, and then hit them with all these sanctions to crush their economy because their economy depended on the trade, which is manipulated by the dollar. So just like you have a gross margin when it comes to products. If I buy something for $10, if I want to make 10 points on it, I just want to. It's $1 for each transaction that I sell. All right. So if I want to make 50 points, that's $5. Right. So that's your gross margin. 5%, or 50% would be. So 10% will be $1. So you want to try to make as much off of that. So now, if they got to use their currency to buy dollars, right, to be able to use it in the trade market. So now, if America hits them with sanctions on the dollars that they buy to put back in the trade market, they're already at a loss. So they're making a fraction of the money that they wanted to make off of their own resources, right? Off of their own resources that they produce, putting pressure on these other nations, making them not be able to increase when it comes to the global economy. So America will be able to dictate who's able to be big game players or heavy hitters when it comes to the global economy. So having that much manipulation in the market makes America the top dog. But what happens if you take the dollar out the way? They no longer have hegemony in the earth. That's why you're seeing their power just fall. All right. So their money is cankered. All right. It says verse 3. It says, your gold and silver is cankered, and the rest of them shall be a witness against you, and shall eat your flesh as it were fire. You have heaped treasure together for the last days. They use the dollar to heap treasures. But the Lord said, you have heaped treasures for the last days, man. The Lord's putting a stop to this. So the Lord said before he's able to perform his enterprise, roughly paraphrasing, he'll make him spew all those things up. It says, behold, the hire of the laborers, which ye have kept down, which have reaped down your fields, which ye have kept back by fraud, crieth, and the cries of them have reaped and entered into the ears of the Lord of Sabaoth. Right. So all the blood, sweat, and tears that our ancestors put into this place to build this place up to be the powerhouse that it is right now, but it's falling, right? We haven't received our 40 acres and a mule. We haven't received our due payment for the sacrifices and work that we put into this place. And our cries have reached to the Lord of Sabaoth, Yahweh Shemel Shai, the Lord of armies. All right. Verse 5, it says, ye have lived in pleasure on the earth and have been wanton. Ye have nourished your hearts as in a day of slaughter. Ye have condemned and killed the just, and he doeth not resist you. The just is talking about Israel. All right. And he done killed more than the just. They use the dollar. Let somebody say they don't want to use the dollar in trademark. Okay, we got to go get them in the name of freedom, in the name of democracy. Saddam. What's the other one? Gaddafi. Anybody that says they don't want to use the dollar as a dominant currency for the form of trade, that's when America creates a false flag to find a way to go into that, invade that country, and change the regime. All right, but this is for us. That's why the Lord says, don't stay upon them that smote them. Stay upon Yahweh by Shem Yahushua. Don't trust in oppression. Verse 7 said, be patient therefore, brethren, unto the coming of the Lord Yahushua. Behold, the husbandman waited for the precious fruits of the earth. All right, so that's what he's waiting for, all the elect to be sealed. And have long patience for it until we receive the early and the latter rain, the ones that come in the beginning and the ones that come in towards the end. So that's what the Lord is waiting for. As he's waiting on this, what is he doing? He's crushing this place, man. Stripping this place bare. Going to make America a third world country, man. So this could be the biggest market crash in economic world history that we're leading up into. All right. And it's ultimately going to lead up to the Revelation 13 and 16, the MOTB. Lord willing, this lesson is edifying to serve the purpose that like Sakal Halayim La Yahweh, by Shem Yahweh Shai, by Shem Harakak Kwadash, my Amath. Double honors to the elder apostle of the great millstone, my elder Heroin as well. Salutations to the Akim that are pushing the truth, to sincerity and truth, and peace and blessing to the men, women, and children that believe in the name of Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai. Shalom.